Here we go. All right, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Wow. Try to make things easy and didn't, it wasn't super easy. So, the sales game, chapter 21 through the end, and this is my follow-up list for IPA. So, love his scripts. I love his systems. I love that it's so empowering to hear what he has to say because he's really just giving the tools and I don't know. She can't get on because she has to log out of Courtney's. It's saying I went to log out of Courtney's. Okay. Sorry. Now she's texting me back. Courtney, can you help your sister? Anyway, I like how it's just so empowering because he is allowing us to learn the professional side of following up and dealing with objections and to take control of the situation instead of letting people um, you know, what does he say? Like if like we know the worth of our products, we know the worth of that Rolex, right? We know that it what it's worth. We know what we could go sell it on the street for, and that might be a little bit of a like that's obviously it's still a big chunk of money, but when we know the value of what we have, then we are in control of the situation and the conversation, not um, dumbing it down or cheapening what we have here. I've had people say, well, it's expensive. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, Plexus is expensive. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I said I went to the store years ago and tried to buy all the ingredients in just our probiotic at Meijer, and it was cheap, crappy, nothing special about them, very poorly manufactured probiotics, and I was up to over $80 in my cart before I even had everything that's in our probiotic. And all of our stuff is tested for quality and um, it works. It's manufactured to be effective. So you get what you pay for, right? And that kind of like, oh, well, then I'm going to need to look at this stuff was the answer, not I assume it's expensive and so therefore I'm going to close out. Um, I like that he says when you're a world-class closer, you understand that a no is just a redirect. Um, so think about it too. Like even dealing, this is a very simple rudimentary example, so don't take me too seriously in this. It's an example, but when your toddler says, "No, I don't want to wear those shoes," it's really not necessarily about the shoes that the day before they were excited about, they picked out, they loved, they ran around, they're their fast shoes, they're all these great things. It's usually something else that they're objecting to. It's not the shoes. It's the I don't want to actually leave the house. I'm hungry. I have to go to the bathroom. Whatever it is. I'm scared of where we're going. I don't want to go to play at Joey's house. He's mean. Whatever it is. And so when we are understanding that this is a redirect and that it's a signal at an attempt to communicate that they're nervous or they have some reservation or they don't understand or they don't understand the quality and the value in what they're getting, then we can say, okay, like, where can I help them understand that? Where can I steer them and lead them to become the better version of themselves? Because that's what this is about. This is about them feeling better. This is about them having the extra money that they need to survive instead of being worried from paycheck to paycheck. We know what this is. We know that this is a $20,000 Rolex, and I don't even know how much Rolexes are. So, we know that this is going to change their life, and that's the position that we want to hold. So, obviously, he lists out a ton of objections and on page 222. Um, and just learning to deal with that no is just that's when our income can go up by 10, 20, and 30%, 30 times. That's when you just realize. So again, I talk about this a lot, like comparison to being a therapist. Melissa and I worked together in the hospital. And I've said this before, you are, and Tova can speak to this. Jackie knows, like, if you've had experience in the hospital, like people have tubes and wires and things and sticking out of them. They have big sternal incisions that have been closed up with a wound on their leg chest tube sticking out, a catheter, monitors, blood pressure, all the things. And we are like, okay, time to go for a walk. And they're like, what are you even talking about here? Right. And so it's that we know that that early mobility, we know that helping them move and get over that hump and getting their heart working and their lungs working and changing their position in the bed is good for their brain, da 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 da, all these myriad of things, then we know their outcome is going to be better. So we got used to dealing with these objections. When I was 23 or something, when I graduated from PT school, I was like, well, I wasn't actually that scared because I had a lot of exposure to acute care. However, it still was nerve-wracking to think, okay, now how am I going to get this person up and moving and convince them because I'm 23 and they're 63 and they think I'm 17. So, like, how is it that I'm going to show them the value in getting up and have that confidence and that professionalism? Now that I've done it for years, I'm like, I got it. Like, and that's where learning to deal with these objections with Plexus, it will become second nature. And then you aren't having to like, what do I say? What do I say? What, thinking about it and using these tools is super, again, empowering. Um, Not what it is it when someone is trying to make an objection and you're it's usually like a smoke screen. It's not actually what they're really objecting to. It's a superficial fear, a hesitation. But depending on how we deal with it, if you deal with it like an amateur, then you are throwing gasoline on the fire. So Melissa and I, first day as therapists, getting somebody up in the cardiac care unit, if we're like, yeah, you're right. I mean, this is really scary. I mean, yeah, that's probably going to hurt really bad. And so, you know, um, we'll just do the best that we can, right? I mean, it's okay. We'll figure it out. You're not going to have the confidence. You literally are throwing gas on the fire. You guys, I need to go to bed. This is not my time of day. I will say that. I'm so sorry I don't have any words. The words are gone. I've used them all. So anyway, when you can come in and be confident, I know you're sore. It's okay. We'll work through it together. I'm here to help you. Melissa's here to help you. Then we know that we are going to help that person and have that confidence. So we might be scared on the inside those first few times, but we're going to maintain that confidence. Don't throw gas on the fire. I had a PA come up to take a chest tube out of a patient. The patient was already super nervous and anxious, and I was already trying to get him up for mobility because he had to have PT before he could leave, and he was very anxious and very upset, and I'm just talking to him and understanding, kind of like the doctor here in this book that I was going to refer to next, and just asking questions and explaining and saying, really, really working hard to have rapport. And the patient said, "You've done this before, right?" To the PI that was going to pull the line. And he said, no, he goes, no, I just watched a YouTube video on my way up in the elevator. And I'm like, wrong patient. Like, yes, hilarious. If wrong patient, like read the room, dude. And I'm like, he is joking. He is joking. Like I'm like right in the patient's face, blocking his view to see the doctor. I'm like, he's joking. He has done this before. He's very good. He is joking with you. Like trying to, and then the PA kind of stopped being such a smart aleck. But y'all read the room. So, anywho, this is where it's a good time to always be confident in what you are doing. So, we talk about too, like follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And I love that Daniel's like, okay, listen, learn to follow up so that you're in control and then you're not following up with somebody for 20 times, right? Like, how annoying is that? I'm sorry. I know I have a different personality than some of you yellow people that are like, oh, it's okay. I am like, listen, just make a decision here. What information do you need? Or we're going to move on. And I love that he ends the book with that basically, right? Follow up at the end of the month, follow up in a year. Anyway, get a hold of myself and all of these um, notes that I did take. So the no resistance sales and this magic words of what else? What else? What else? And we do this. I have found really good success with this. and maybe not saying what else, but is there any other information that you'd like to see, or are you ready to look at some options that I would recommend to get started? You're kind of saying like, do you want more info? Because some people want the info, some people want to jump on the phone, some people want to go ahead and get started. That happened to me yesterday. I shared that with Melissa. I'd followed up with her before. She was like, I'm good. And I'm like, that's fine. It's fine. And then was like, okay, I need this Plexus stuff. And within like, I mean, I was driving. If I hadn't been driving, it'd have been 10 minutes. So within a half an hour, she was all signed up. Um, 4 steps to advanced objection handling, just still acknowledge it. We don't want to brush it over. I know that can be tempting to not answer or not address that, but that's actually worse. We do want to say, like, I understand the concern. Giving them that exit with the push pulling. I loved his examples in there, giving them that permission because then you're going to reduce the resistance. So, I have people that and for me it's very freeing. It's like, hey, like maybe this isn't the right time for you, and that's totally fine. I want to stay in contact with you regardless of Plexus, and I'll kind of like push them out and say I'm gonna pass my coupon on to somebody else, like, and that doesn't always bring them back in. But guess what? Then I'm not the one that's like feeling pushy or salesy or I'm putting the ball in their court and saying, all right, not great. But then pulling them back in, which is genius. So asking those questions that pull them back in and then re-present and reclose. So he has really great examples. Obviously, I'm not just going to sit here and read examples, even though I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear if you've tried any of them with this week as you've read and different things. Um, just that reminder, like don't argue, don't defend, stay in their frequency and kind of you're kind of matching their energy, but pulling them to the next level. We talk about that a lot. I love, he says, do you mind if we circle back in a couple of weeks? Because next week I'm actually tied up in meetings. So that is really genius too, where you're not just 100% available. And I think that I do I'm not a primary yellow, but I do have a lot of yellow in me. And so I've always made myself very available. And maybe it's because I've juggled so many things in my life for so long. So I'm like, oh, just call me anytime. We'll figure it out. Like that's just how I literally, I mean, having kids ruined me. Like there is no schedule. There is, and then it just all ravels down. So I'm very used to pivot, 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 look at my job, pivot, 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 all the things. And so really kind of making yourself unavailable, I think speaks volume because it's showing you're helping other people, that you take this seriously as a business, that you're not just 100% available. Eric Worre says this, like be busy all of the time, be in a hurry, be busy, be active because which I'm like, gosh, if I'm so busy, are people even going to think I can help them be successful in their products or this business? But apparently they're not thinking about that. They're thinking you're busy, you're successful. Um, I don't have the money, usually never all about the money. He really hones in on that with all of these examples, uncovers them. Love the push away, truly. And we do this with our kids all the time, even older kids. I do this with my school kids, the kids I'm seeing. Oh, I guess you just don't know how to stand on one foot today. I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess we'll have to go do something else and not do this fun fishing game with the balance on one foot. I don't know. And then they're like, well, I can do it. I can do it. Got your kids still works at all ages. Um, and then moving in, oh, this did speak out to me really highly. Like, I need to speak to my husband about this. And then saying like, oh yeah, what is your husband's name? Or, even in Messenger, like we might know somebody's husband's, oh, your husband is Bill, right? Like I want, you're just confirming or whatever, you're showing that personal touch. And I did like that I wrote down. And then moving into chapter 22, um, the science of this follow-up steps. And he explains like why do we get ghosted? And it's because we don't schedule the next meeting. And I think we can do this even in Messenger. Like someone comments on your post, you say, "Hey, I'm gonna send you a message. I'd love to share information with you." You go to Messenger, you're like, "Hey, thanks for commenting. Here's the information," but you haven't followed up. "Hey, I'm gonna give you I'm going to give you some time to review this. When is a good time to reconnect? Monday or Tuesday? And I think if we even followed up in that fashion and said when it, scheduled that next meeting, it would be much more successful than just us waiting for people to follow back up with us. Even ending on a question like, I'd love to hear more about your health goals. Please feel free to pop them in here. Otherwise, let's connect on this day or this day. How much time do you need to read through this information? Um, and I think that can be helpful. Day one, the waiting, you sign up the meeting and or you get on the initial meeting, you immediately schedule a follow-up. I like this too. We can do this in Messenger. You're talking back and forth. You can still follow up, schedule the next follow-up, and this shows leadership. I loved that he points out that it shows leadership because then we're taken more seriously. We are the gut health experts. We are the plexus experts. Even getting initially started in this opportunity or business or sharing the products, you're still a leader to that person because you're the one they're going to look up to. So establishing leadership, I love that, showing that sign of leadership. And then confirming. So when you confirm your next appointment, you are setting the stage, you're setting the obligation, you're getting them anticipated to um, talk back to you, which is good. And then if you can't confirm, then you want to cancel on them before they cancel on you. So this is like high school, but it's kind of like, well, does he like me? Does she like me? Does da da da. Well, I'm gonna say I don't like him now because I don't want him to say he doesn't like me first. Like you literally are like, I'm gonna end it before anything happens because I want to be in control, right? And so I think that I love, and Eric Worre talks about this. Like if they don't confirm, I think it's Eric Worre, right? Like if they don't confirm that call, you're gonna cancel it. You're going to say, I don't have time to chase you down. I don't have time to just be 150 billion% available to you. You want to take this seriously. I'm here for that. So I love that. The 1 month, you know, where you're, I can't even read my own writing. Anyway, you're cutting to this message, getting them, I don't know, 5 line between push and discipline. Fine line between push and discipline. There we go, not 5 line. So it's this like you're waiting because you don't want to push, 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 but you also want to display the discipline that you have in being professional and following up with people. There we go. And then a year. So this is going to ultimately, it's the ultimate push out, it's the ultimate out. It protects your time and respects theirs. So I love that, like perfect. And then when you can re-engage in January when everyone's like excited about new goals and growth and all of that. And any excuse that there is too, like I would say with Plexus, when we have new products and we have Plex convention excitement, and we have a new product and excitement or a new launch of a contest excitement. I think those are still good excuses too to kind of follow up because if you start a conversation in January, you're really going to wait until next January. I mean, I don't know how I would ever keep track of that personally. So, I think that, re-engaging sooner. So, anyway, those were my thoughts. Thank you for your patience and all of the craziness over here. So it's your turn.
I really like the what else. I'm gonna have to decide exactly how I want to phrase it so it doesn't sound too confrontational, but I do think that that's true. Whenever somebody gives an objection, that often when it's like, is there anything else that you're worried about or concerns you, they tend to suddenly bring something else up. And often I feel like the first objection never comes back up. So when people say praise, I'm kind of the same thing as you, like, no, this is actually a really good deal. And it's almost, I feel like almost always something else. And then he talked about how we're not selling guarantees, we're selling progress. I think that's important because the people who are looking for perfection, they're not going to stay anyway and just end up being more frustrating. So I think that kind of hinges on how we communicate with people and onboard them. And then his follow-up was interesting. And so, because I tend to follow up every 90 days with people, but it's not, I don't know. I'm like, a year seems like a really long time, but it is he saying like minimum for a business, even that long, I guess. I don't know, Fallon, you'll have to tell us what you think. I try to touch base with people every 90 days who I'm getting to a point where I followed up enough to where it might be annoying. So every 60 to 90 days, I'll do like personal and then invite to an event and personal and then remind about a product.
I don't have a system, Tova. I need like a schedule. Um, I wanted to get the one that Sal was talking about on group coaching, and another week went by and I didn't do that. And I forgot group coaching tonight. Sorry, Jules. I remembered that as I was getting on this call. But anyways, um, I follow up and I comment on their stories a lot. So it's probably more than every 90 days because I feel like when somebody messages me, but I forgot and I didn't see their message, when they message me, it just brings it right back there. So as long as it stays in the view, I will just keep talking kind of like a friend. And then I'll just bring it up when it comes to mind or when I feel like it. That I need a new system though, because I've seen other people join, like my prospects join other people, and that annoys me. So I'm like, darn it, like why wasn't I pushier? So I feel like I can definitely do a better job with that myself.
That's like a perfect case scenario of them watching you and getting all the information and like having these mini conversations with you and getting their questions answered and all of that. And then like they ran, I also do think people think this is like Pampered Chef, where they can just order from whomever, Pampered Chef. Like, oh, I need new spatulas. I'm going to order from Susie over here. But in 3 months, when I need paring knives or whatever, I'm going to order from so and so because they're talking about it. And so I do think that there is some confusion with that where people think that it's just you order one time or you order and you can just cancel and join over here, whatever. So there's that too. I wouldn't take it as personally, Fallon, that they're ditching you or something.
Oh no, I don't take it personally on them. I take it personally on myself that I,
Well, yeah. Yeah, because what? Because you didn't ask for the ask. That's
yeah,
why.
yeah, because someone else is clearly just like more bold, like do this, and then they
I
talk
don't, but
until they
but
do it.
that's where I don't know that that is the case. I don't know that someone else was more bold. I'm saying they're watching all these people, and then the one day they're like, I want it, and they just go to the person that they see that day.
Yeah,
That
when they're ready.
that could be it too. So that's why we do need to ask. I mean, my favorite annoyance is when people comment to ask for more information because a post literally says, comment blah 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 if you want info, and they're like, me. I go to talk to them and they're like, I don't want GLP-1. I'm like, you asked for information on a GLP-1 post. So then I'm have to like, good thing because plexus isn't a shot. It's using your body, what feels out of whack in your body because you're saying you're unbalanced, and then ghost. And I don't know, Daniel G did not prepare me for that. So if you guys have tips, I'd love to hear them. Um,
I like to just follow up and say, what did you think about that? Coming back to our last conversation, how did you feel about that? What were your thoughts?
well, her only conversation back with me is because I literally said, I said, it was, do you want, like, if you want information on this GLP-1 combo, say whatever in the comments. So I'm like, hey, thanks for commenting. I love it's a friend, they go to our school, at my kid's school. Don't you just love our school? So I like connected, tried to connect personally. Here's the information you asked for on the about the post. GLP-1, just the couple graphics that I've been sharing from the thing. And then her response was, I don't want GLP-1. Like, I want to balance my body. So I followed up and said, oh, good, because Plexus is great for balancing body. What do you feel is out of whack? Then I followed up again and just said, something else about, gut health and hormones or, what kind of kept it general and asked again if there was something that she was specifically wanting to balance. So I didn't just not follow up, but I think it's just
And
dealing
she's still
with people.
ghosted.
Yeah, I think it's just dealing with people too. And so that's why he has this system where he does say, you're waiting 30 days, you're waiting 90 days, you're waiting whatever, and a year does seem too long to me, but
But I think sometimes too, if you tell somebody you're not going to follow up with them for a year, then they're like, oh my gosh, they don't want to talk to me for a year. I better do something. So I think sometimes that can spur somebody on to maybe make a decision or um, I, I liked, I can't remember, it was a couple weeks ago or something, in one of the calls you guys were talking about, you know, using the number system. And I thought that was super helpful to get an idea, to get people talking, to gauge their readiness on something. On a scale of 0 to 10, how ready are you to get started with this? So, I like those for ending questions so that you have somewhere to go because sometimes you're like, hey, that's so annoying. And ghost, ghost, ghost. But if you ask them a number, that gives them something that isn't a product thing. It isn't a right now, but it can open a door for some more conversation. And I think that's helpful because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what to ask these people anymore. So I thought that was good.
yeah.
I liked all the scripts that he shared about just like what to say to the objections. On 238, it seemed a bit intense to be like, oh, my fault. I should have told you in the beginning I would be completely impossible for us to partner at this point. I'm just like, it's pretty. I feel like we could put that into Chat GPT and make it sound a little bit better because I'm just like, huh? It's his tactic to confuse people because I was a little confused. I'm like, what does this mean? I'm like, how do I say this? So yeah, actually, never mind. I don't think we could work together. Like, my bad. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it works. I mean, he's better at recruiting than me, so maybe I'll just go crazy
I
and
think
use
he's
all of
being
this.
a little sassy. I think he gets annoyed with people and is like, forget you. I think I think
Well,
he just
that's what
wants
he
to say it.
said. He wants people to, it's important to show them in this step that you're good without them. So,
Just like
I don't know.
dating.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I liked all of
It's a
those though. And
huge, sorry, sorry, Courtney, go ahead.
no, you're good.
I thought
Say
that's a
it.
huge manipulation tactic for him to like be like, look, I don't need you. And then that makes the person like want it more. So then it's just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it because like, I'm sorry, heck yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, this is what I need, and you're gonna be my person. So I think it's a manipulation thing almost. Which thing is
Yes, it's that reverse psychology. You take it away from them, and then they're like, "Oh, but wait, Sonia." I forget Sonia's wording for that. She says something like, "I'm going to take you off my follow-up list." So same thing, and they're like, "No, wait, don't take me off the follow-up list."
Well, when I read that, I just thought it was great. So what does that say about me? Like if I'm like, I mean, you definitely get a response out of people, right? Like I completely my fault and you're taking that ownership and I should have told you this in the beginning. It would be completely impossible for us to partner up at this point. But he says, because I don't even know if we'd be able to work with you like we did with this other company. So, I mean, that's where it's tricky to talk about the products, right? Because we know our products will work for anyone if they just take them. And so I think that it might work really well for a business prospect follow up. Um, but when you're trying to like get someone to do you're there when the conversation has been about the products, not get someone. We don't get someone to do anything. But how do you do that? Oh, I completely forgot. that you don't actually breathe air and have blood in your body? You can't say that. That doesn't make sense. I like the guarantee one too. Like you were saying, Tova. Like, well, we don't guarantee because I like underlined it. That's, a tell that I really thought it was good. We can't control the work that you'll be putting in. Like, there is no guarantee because I can't control the work that you'll be putting in. It's like, I mean, that's not foreign to me at all. I'm a physical therapist. Like, I can't guarantee your results of this knee replacement. That's up to you and you doing the exercises, right? Like, I'm here to help you, I'm guide you and direct you and push you and help you, but you have to follow up with doing the proper things when you're not in PT. I'm not going to live with you. And I would joke with patients, like, yeah, yeah. I have 4 kids and a husband. We eat way too much. You don't want me coming home with you. That's what I would say. Oh, ha ha. This is the ball's in your court now.
So I love the 5 step process too. And I'm also curious, like, what does he do for the annual follow up? Is he taking those numbers and putting those names and putting them in the back of the planner? That's the only thing I can think of that makes sense to me. But I love the fact that he's got his millionaire list of 10,000 phone numbers, 10,000 emails, 10,000 social media handles, which just reminded me of Eric Worre that, all conversation is business, or all business is conversation. Everybody you talk to, just politely and kindly say, "Hey, we had a great conversation today. How do I stay in touch with you?" So I'm going to definitely practice that. And then tonight, I had a conversation I was having with a young man. I just reached out, cold message. Hey, random question. Have you ever thought about supplements like that I do for your health or income? And he replied back and said, like, what's Plexus? So I briefly said, we're the original gut health company. And then I pivoted and I said, do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you on a regular basis? And he was like, nope. So I pulled back. I said, well, it doesn't sound like this is for you. Um, yeah, we'll just stay in touch. And then he replied back. I didn't read his follow-up message, but he wasn't willing to engage and tell me what his symptoms were that I could help with. And so I just pulled back.
That's wise and that was classy, right? Like, no one wants to be beat around the bush and whatever. Like, you were a guy about it too. Like, we need all the ladies on here. We need to take examples from the guy. Hey, totally wondering, have you ever thought of this? And moving through that process, right? Just it'll be curious to see what he says to you. You'll have to keep us posted because now I'm invested over here, Steve, of if he's like, actually. So, does anybody want to share like their biggest takeaway on the whole book or something that just really stood out to you or you felt really empowered by? I mean, it's hard to remember every single thing from the whole book. I like that there's lots of scripts, and I am like, okay, I really need, like, I say this about all of our books, like, oh, I need to do it again or whatever, but like being able, like, that repetition and the practice of it and using the scripts and the verbiage then makes it second nature to us. And so I'm excited to kind of go back through some of these, and Sabrina's so good about putting scripts together. I'm like, we need to pay her or something. She could be the next Tina Marie of the scripts for us.
I'm with you, Jackie. I really like just some of his bold language, and it's just different from my general approach. I'm very yellow and want to help people, and so it's good to have like wording of how to be more bold as I continue to work on it and kind of keep me in check to keep growing and be a little more effective.
Well, and you got to remember, Melissa, in the ways that you've become so much more bold because you work in like the hardest unit of the hospital and you actually are successfully helping patients with their goals. And that is a really easy area of the hospital to be like, okay, see you later. We'll try again later because you're trying to not push them, right? And so you have learned to push them in a very nice way and in a very kind and encouraging way. And so you can take that into Plexus because, and we've talked about this, Melissa saying something that feels really bold and outlandish and direct, it probably really isn't, but she feels because it's so different than what her norm is, where me saying something bold and direct is not a shock. So there's that where I need to like sometimes kind of back off a little bit in the boldness. Not really. I don't know. I honestly don't know because I don't think I could go against who I am. And it just doesn't feel right. Like, I'm not rude to people by any means. But if I'm like, you know what, this might not be for you. I really wish some of these, I had Fallon, I sent Fallon a message. This girl, like, will not stop talking to me about her stupid products. I don't know. It's something like Melaleuca or something. I don't even know what the freaking company is because she doesn't just say what it is and no post on her page says, what it is. I'm not going to be a detective, lady. And I was like, Fallon, can I just unfriend and block her? Like, she won't say, I'm like, I don't want your products. Like, I don't know how much else to say this. And then I'm reading the book and like, she's not following up with me like he is, right? Like he is like the give and take, the pull it back, the push away. She's not. She's just like pestering me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. But I haven't unfriended her because she's in my like physical realm of where I live and stuff. So I don't want to like leave a bad taste of who I am with her, but geez. So don't do that to people either, right? Like I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you clean your house. If you wanted to help me clean your house, you would drive over here and start sweeping my floors. That's what I need help with, not buying more crap. This is on the recording too. This is great. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Any other comments?
I'll remind you, edit it, Elizabeth. She might join and happen to watch this video.
Yeah, I doubt it. Well, maybe she needs to watch it.
Put it with Fallon's video where she's talking about the money she's making in her kitchen. It was crazy.
Elizabeth, have you thought about asking her if she wants to join you?
No, because I don't want her talking to people like she's talking to me.
Maybe she needs some coaching though.
Actually, I think I did. If I really wanted to look back, I think I did. I think I said I have a very successful business with gut health with Plexus. And have you ever thought about doing that? I think I did initially. And she was like, "Oh no, I just love my company. I make $200 a month." Like, I mean, she didn't say that, but I'm always curious what her actual paycheck is.
Might be worth saying, wow, you're so bold. We have some amazing free coaching with our company that could help you be more successful.
I've actually done that before too. Weekly book clubs and team call that train us on how to do this business. Blah blah blah. I've done that too. I'm gonna keep that in mind though, Summer. I mean anyone that has reached out to me, I've said I have turned it back and said, nope, I'm very happy and successful with Plexus. Have you ever heard of Plexus and the business opportunity that we have? I think I have. Like mostly I do say that, but definitely a good point. All right. Anybody else ready for bed? Just me. I'm gonna end this recording. Hold on.